In the manicured heart of Greenwich, Connecticut, the Bradley Mansion was a portrait of established wealth. Among the white colonials, it stood with a particular movie-set perfection. From its blooming seasonal flowers to the elegant stone path leading to a lacquered front door, for over 30 years, it had been the family's anchor, a $2.5 million monument to their name. It was in this pristine garden that 8-year-old Lily Morrison could be found each afternoon, a small, devoted figure watering the flowers. Her dark, thoughtful eyes shone with concentration as she tended to her grandparents' blooms, a ritual the neighbors watched with fondness. The voice that called from the doorway was a familiar comfort. "Lily, thank you for watering the flowers for Grandma." It was her mother, Amy. At 35, Amy was a woman of quiet strength, a director at a major pharmaceutical company who had built her life on her own terms, a path that included adopting Lily and choosing a career far from the family's real estate dynasty. This choice had left a permanent chill in her relationship with her parents, a frost she tried to melt with monthly financial support. "Mom, I baked Grandpa's favorite cookies today," Lily announced, proudly holding up a paper bag that seeped the warm, buttery scent of chocolate chips. "Mrs. Johnson taught me." "Oh, how wonderful," Amy said, her smile genuine. Her husband, Michael, stood beside her, a steady presence. As the owner of a successful IT company, he had always been the unwavering supporter of Amy's choices, the keeper of their family's happiness. Inside the mansion, a different kind of work was underway. In the formal sitting room, Robert and Diana Bradley pored over documents for Bradley Real Estate. Their life's work, a company generating $5 million annually, was their greatest pride and their most consuming anxiety. The weight of its future now rested on their younger daughter, Caitlin, who had pivoted from a legal career to manage the company's books. She had earned their trust, a trust that papered over her pretentious nature and the whispers about her lavish spending. As dusk softened the light, the scene was deceptively peaceful. Lily finished her watering. Amy felt a swell of quiet happiness, and the stage was set for a fracture that would redefine them all. December wrapped Greenwich in a blanket of Christmas lights and false cheer. The Bradley Mansion was prepared for its annual lavish party. A towering tree, adorned with inherited antique ornaments, dominated the living room. "Grandma, can I hang this wreath, too?" Lily asked, carefully presenting a simple, handmade wreath crafted from pine cones and ribbon at her church workshop. "Yes, let's hang it at the entrance," Diana replied, her attention fixed on adjusting a costly decoration from a luxury department store. A flicker of guilt pricked at her conscience at the sight of Lily's hopeful smile, but she smothered it quickly. As the family gathered for dinner under the crystal chandelier, the air was thick with unspoken tensions. Robert fretted over financial reports, Caitlin offered polished compliments, and Lily waited with barely contained excitement for the gift exchange to come. When the moment finally arrived, a mountain of brightly wrapped presents lay under the tree. The ritual began with Caitlin's son, Jacob, who was showered with the latest gadgets and luxury clothes. Lily watched, her small face alight with anticipation, her hands clasping the handmade Christmas card she'd crafted for her grandparents. She thought of her daily visits, the watered flowers, the shared cookies. Surely, they remembered. But as the pile of gifts dwindled, her name was never called. The festive atmosphere curdled into heavy silence. Amy's smile tightened, Michael's jaw clenched. "Grandma?" Lily's small voice trembled in the quiet. Large tears welled in her eyes. "Do you hate me?" The room froze. Caitlin allowed a faint, meaningful smile to touch her lips. It was Diana who broke the silence, her voice as cold and sharp as ice. "Presents are for deserving children." She took a sip of tea, her smile elegant and cruel. "My sister's child is real family, after all." The words hung in the air, a venomous verdict. Amy's face went pale. "I understand," Amy said, her voice dangerously calm. "We will never be involved again." She stood, gathering a sobbing Lily into her arms. Michael enveloped them both, and without another word, the three turned and walked out. The heavy thud of the oak door closing was the period at the end of their life as part of the Bradley family. In the days that followed, a new resolve hardened in Amy. She ceased all financial support to her parents, the monthly rent, the expensive insurance premiums. It was a decision bolstered by Michael's mother, Grace, who offered them her quiet vacation home and the unconditional love Lily so desperately needed. As the new year settled into a deep freeze, life for the Morrisons began to recalibrate in their new sanctuary. Lily planted a new flower bed with grace, her wounded heart slowly mending. But in their absence, the carefully constructed facade of the Bradley family began to crack. Unsettling rumors swirled, first in neighborhood gossip, then in the stark black and white of a tax investigation notice. An anonymous whistleblower had triggered an audit, and the evidence pointed to a massive embezzlement scheme masterminded by Caitlin. The morning the news broke, Amy drove to her parents' house, a reflex of concern. She saw unfamiliar men in dark suits entering the office. Later, a call from Michael's contact at the tax office confirmed it. Caitlin was suspected of stealing $5 million. She had vanished, leaving nothing behind but the ruins of the family business and the chilling silence of a mansion whose foundations had finally crumbled. The call came on a Tuesday, Diana's voice frayed with a panic Amy had never heard. "Amy, Caitlin's gone. She just disappeared." The carefully constructed dam of the Bradley family had finally burst. Caitlin had emptied accounts, abandoned her 7-year-old son, Jacob, and vanished. In the ensuing days, the investigation painted a devastating portrait of betrayal: secret accounts siphoned from real estate contracts, inflated invoices, and the systematic exploitation of her parents' trust and their digital illiteracy. She had wielded their seals and passwords like a master key to the family vault. Her flight ended not with a whisper, but a perp walk, arrested at JFK, her luxury suit replaced by standard-issue clothing, the arrogance in her eyes extinguished. "Why?" Robert mumbled into his hands at the police station, a broken man staring at the ruins of his life's work, a company now drowning in over $10 million in liabilities. At home, Diana crumbled. Outside their window, the garden Lily had once nurtured wilted, unnoticed. In the quiet living room of Grace's vacation home, Amy watched the news reports in silence. Michael was already at the police station, lending his IT expertise to the forensic investigation. That night, Amy found a page in Lily's diary, a small prayer written in a child's careful script: "Please don't let Mom be sad, and please don't let Jacob be lonely." In the stark interrogation room, Caitlin's confession was chilling in its clarity. The first embezzlement 3 years prior was a desperate grab during her divorce, but the taste of stolen money had curdled into an addiction, funding a lifestyle that demanded ever greater sums. Detectives noted how $500,000 of a $3 million contract had been deftly rerouted to a private account. At Bradley Real Estate headquarters, the bankruptcy trustee delivered the final blow. "At this rate," he announced, "we'll have to liquidate all properties." The heir left the room. Then, an unexpected counter-narrative began to emerge, one of pure, unacknowledged devotion. It started with Mrs. Johnson from next door, who brought the police a photo album. It was a chronicle of Lily, day after day, in sun and snow, tending the garden, carrying cookies, a small, constant figure of love. Security footage analysis confirmed it: 367 consecutive days of visits, not one missed. Pastor Michael O'Connor from St. Mary's offered his testimony. "Every Sunday," he said softly, "that child would pray for her grandparents' health. It was the purest of prayers." On a cool April morning, Robert and Diana appeared at Grace's doorstep, stripped of their designer armor. They looked small and old. The rings were gone from Diana's fingers. "Amy," Robert began, his voice thick with tears, "we were so wrong." Diana's words trembled. "That child's love, we were blind to it." They laid bare their folly, their obsession with legacy and bloodline, their coddling of Caitlin's ambition, and their tragic failure to see the treasure that visited them daily. As complex emotions warred within Amy, anger, pity, a painful liberation, a small sound came from the stairs. "Grandpa, Grandma." Lily stood there in her school uniform. The room held its breath. Then, she walked forward and wrapped her small arms around them in a gentle embrace. "Don't cry," she whispered. "I want to forgive you." In the profound silence that followed, Grace turned away, pressing her fingers to her eyes. Michael let out a long, slow breath, watching her daughter. Amy felt the final piece of her own resentment fall away. "Dad, Mom," she said, her voice steady, "let's talk about what happens next." All of us. Together. Soft spring light filled the room, catching the nascent buds on the flowers Lily had planted, a new season, quietly beginning. The rebuilding was a long and humble road. Robert and Diana moved from their mansion to a modest apartment, their luxury a casualty of repayment plans. Diana found a new rhythm in weekly volunteer work at St. Mary's, discovering a truth she'd long ignored: the value of things and the value of the heart are different. Amy, leveraging her corporate experience, became the architect of the company's recovery. With Michael's technical help, they built a new, transparent management system from the ashes. At her sentencing, Caitlin received 5 years. As she was led away, she left a single message for her sister: "I'm truly sorry." For the first time, the words sounded real. A year later, Greenwich was again draped in Christmas lights, but the celebration was different. It was held in Grace's home, now filled with the warmth of a reunited family. Lily carefully hung a new ornament, engraved with the words, "Gratitude to Family." The dinner table was not opulent, but it was abundant with dishes made together. As they gathered, Robert made an announcement. "I want to start an adoption support fund with a portion of our profits," he said, his gaze resting on Lily. "We need to give back what she taught us." Amy felt tears well up. Under Grace's gentle watch, they bowed their heads. "Lord," Grace prayed, "thank you for giving us awareness and forgiving hearts." As a soft "Amen" echoed, Lily gasped. "Look." Outside, Michael had strung the garden trees with tiny lights, a constellation against the falling snow. It was more beautiful than any lavish decoration they had ever owned. "It's like a starry sky," Diana whispered, her eyes shining with tears of joy, not regret. "Let's create new family traditions," Amy said, her hand finding Michael's. As the scent of Grace's apple pie filled the air, Robert nodded at Diana's quiet words. "So this is what true happiness is." Lily stood by the window, the snow and starlight reflected in her eyes, a quiet, sure promise of the future they would build together, one day at a time.